Hello everyone, welcome to Mobility Academy. I'm the flexibility guy, Coach Elia. In this video, I'd like to show you a beautiful exercise to stretch your lower body, more in particular your hip flexors, your hip extensors, so your hamstrings, glutes, and also to stretch your calves and to mobilize your hips and your ankles, okay? This exercise is called the split squat, but before I start, let me ask you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you'll never miss one of my next videos. With that said, let's start. Okay, so the split squat is a dynamic exercise where you basically perform a lunge, okay? It's not like 100% a lunge. There are few details that make a lot of difference here. So you're going to need some weights at a certain point. We're going to start without the weights because you need to understand how to move your body, where you should feel the stretch, etc. Then we're going to increase the intensity of the exercise and of the stretch using some weights, okay? Now, to start, you start with one leg in front of you and one leg back here, okay? Now, from this position, you want to make a lunge, and you try to, you need to imagine like if you want to bring your hips, your front leg's glute against your front heel, okay? So this is not like a lunge. A lunge is like this, okay? You only go down. Here, what I want to do is to like drive my hips towards the front heel like this. So there's the ending position. Can you see the difference from like a regular lunge, which is here, and a split squat, which is here, okay? Now, you need to understand that here you need to drive your knee forward, okay, to do that. This kind of movement, of course, if you do that with a lot of weight, it can be like dangerous for your knees. But since we are doing it without any kind of weight, it's completely safe. It's a safe movement here. But the most important thing is that there, in the bottom position, can you see how I'm mobilizing my front ankle here? That's why maybe it's called the split squat, because it's similar to a split on the back leg and it's similar to a squat on the front leg. Now watch, as I go down, I drive my knee in front of me and I flex my ankle a lot. This will be really beneficial for my range of movement in the squat, because the squat is in a squat it is really important to have like a really good range of motion in your ankles. And here we are loading the ankle by bringing the knee forward and flexing the ankle here. Your front heel like should stay on floor at all times during the exercise, okay? Now this is only the end position, but it's not like completely like that, because your back knee needs to stay away from the floor, okay? So this is just to let you understand the difference between a regular lunge and a split squat. Now we're going to see the real exercise, the split squat, okay? So you start standing here. You don't want to make a lunge, okay? You want to make a split squat, so driving your hips towards your front heel. Your back foot is not completely against the floor. You can raise your back heel a little bit from the floor like this. You always stay on your toe here. So from here, you drive your heel, your hips down, and as you do so, you want to keep this leg here as straight as you can. This is what creates the stretch on your hip flexors of your back leg here. So this is really important. This is the key factor here in this exercise. So at all times during this movement, doesn't matter where you are, you need to like keep your back leg as straight as you can. Okay, so from here I start, I drive my hips down, watch, I try to keep my back leg as straight as I can. I don't want to touch the floor with my back knee. I reach the bottom position, I stay here 1 or 2 seconds, and then I come back. Again, slow on the way down, I drive my hips. As you can see, I'm driving my hips towards my front here. I keep my back leg straight. 1, 2, and I come back down. Okay, so it is really important here to drive the hips towards the front here and to keep your back leg as straight as you can. Now, as you drive your hips down, you will stretch your hamstrings and your glutes of the front leg, and of course, since the front ankle is moving into flexion, you're stretching also your calves here, your calf. And on the back leg, since the leg is going into extension with the knee as straight as you can, this will stretch your hip flexors. So this exercise here is also really important to mobilize your hips and to walk towards the front split, because as you can see here, if you watch the angle between my front leg and my back leg is really similar to a front split. Don't watch the whole leg, watch just at the femurs in the position. It's like a front split, okay? So it is really important also to walk on that kind of range of motion there. Now, once you understand the movement without the weights, you can use the weights to increase the intensity of the exercise and of the stretch. I suggest doing like from 6 to 10 repetitions during this exercise here for 3 to 5 sets. The most important thing, since it's a loaded exercise, so you're going to use a weight or the only force of gravity, which is pushing you down, but it's really strong, so it will stretch your muscles. The most important thing is to think about the stretch. Okay, you don't want to do this exercise just like going down and up and returning the starting position. You need to feel during the exercise that you are gaining range of motion. You need to feel the stretch. You need to feel that you are mobilizing your hips and your ankle during the movement. Okay, so it is really important that you prioritize the stretch and not the weights, etc. You need to feel the stretch. So once you feel that the movement is okay, you can perform 6 to 10 repetitions easily. You can use a weight. Now, I will start only with one weight just to show you the progression. At first, you're going to like grab the weight on the opposite hand of your front leg. So if you put your right leg in front of you, you want to hold the weight on your left hand. Okay, so position here, I drive my hips down, I keep my back leg straight, I hold this position a couple of seconds, and I come back up. It's the exact same motion here. 1, 2, and I come back. Again, the last one. 1, 2, and I come back. Okay, so now, as you can see, the balance is a really important thing in this exercise, because you're not like placing your back foot completely against the floor. So this might give you some troubles understanding the balance of the position, especially when you move your hips down. So you need to like practice this movement to understand better the balance component of this exercise. Okay, so that's why I also like suggest you starting without the weights and then adding the weights with time as you understand better the movement and you build strength and flexibility there. Now, you can also try the variation with 2 weights, 1 on each hand, okay? It's exactly the same, you're just adding intensity to this stretch. It's really the same, you just need to pay more attention to your balance, and you want also to make sure that the weight that you're using is not too much, because if it's too much, you can't get like at your max depth during this exercise, okay? So make sure that the weight is helping you getting like deeper into the stretch and not like limiting you in that stretch, because if you use too much weight, you'll feel something like, okay, I can go down, but the weight is too much and I can't get any further because I fear that movement because the weight is too much, okay? So make sure that the weight is helping you getting deeper and not vice versa. So 1 weight on your right hand, 1 weight on your left hand, right foot in front of you, left leg straight. You go on your toe, on your back foot here. You start, you drive your hips down, back leg really straight, and I come back. And again, I stay here, 1, 2, and I come back. Now watch, as I am in the bottom position, I'm trying to like drive my hips as low as I can, trying to straighten my back leg as much as I can. Okay, so of course you need to do both legs, so both the right leg in front of you and also your left leg in front of you. So you straighten your back leg as much as you can and you come back in the starting position. Again. 2. And the last one. I keep my back leg as straight as I can. I'm not as flexible with my right leg. My right leg is my stiffer leg. So this is the progression of the split squat. One of the best exercises to work on your legs flexibility, to build strength, and to mobilize your hips and your ankles. You can do a lot of things just with one exercise. You can build strength, you can mobilize your hips and your ankles, and you can stretch your muscles. 3 things that maybe you need to do some exercises to build strength, some exercises to mobilize the ankles or your hips, and some exercises to stretch your muscles. With this exercise, you can do all these things with only one exercise. So it's really a huge movement. I really suggest you using in your workouts to increase your strength, flexibility, and to mobilize your joints. That's all for the split squat. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about how to use this exercise. I suggest you using this exercise to warm up your hips before a strength session, a flexibility session, or whatever kind of activity you are doing. You can use this exercise to warm up your hips and to build range of motion both in your hip flexion and your hip extension. So you mobilize your hips and you also warm up them. So really useful and time-saving exercise. You can do from 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 10 repetitions. The most important thing, remember, is that you pause in the bottom part of each rep for at least 2 seconds, even though I suggest you like pausing a little bit longer on the final repetition of staying in the bottom position for example, 10 to 20 seconds. That's how I suggest you using this exercise to increase your flexibility level. If you enjoy the content, please hit that like button or leave me a comment if you have any further questions. That's all from the Flexibility Guy, Coach Elia. Have a nice stretch and see you in the next video.